SWIFT to be replaced by XRP? Guys, we're going to talk about it these days. A lot of news is coming out about XRP and Ripple. Let's do it if you're ready. First, we will talk about the SEC data. Then we will talk about the Dubai Financial Services Authority and Ripple, learn some useful things about that. The US Congress will also be looked at. A bill is moving through Congress. A lot of very useful information. Let us look at this. It's clear that this came from an in-depth plan. XRP is an important piece of banking infrastructure for the US. There's also a lot of information here about the world. Nostra 27 trillion. I found it interesting that there are only 5 trillion US Nostros. Since the US is the world's banking capital, I thought this number would be a bit higher. New York is 1.5 trillion XRP worth of capital was freed. Okay, so US banks would save $1.5 trillion. These are US banks. They would save $7.5 billion a year on processing fees. With that money, they could buy Bitcoin. That's what these people want to do. That makes sense. I like it. To make XRP's legal status clearer, the SEC and DOJ need to agree on the following. Classify XRP as a payment network instead of a security. Remove DOJ limits on banks and require banks to use XRP for liquidity solutions. I mean, think about getting governmental clearance for 3 to 6 months. Oh my God, this looks nice and tastes good. This was pointed out by Crypto Barbie. This is the only place I've seen it. I hope this wasn't changed or edited. Please take. They might be fine. It's possible that you don't have any stroke numbers. 1.5 trillion swap SWIFT for liquidity based on XRP. It seems a little sketchy to me, but it's fine. If everyone switched their payments to XRP, it would save $7.5 billion a year in transaction fees. I don't know, man. I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll see. Okay. Also, guys, watch out. There's some MEV. Because of this deal, bot pretty much got $200,000 to $153,000. You can read more about MEVBot on Google if you want to get a better grasp on this. Jeremy Hogan says, I was interested in something in the Eleanor Terrace post. We are almost done with the case. It might be over soon. Soon, the case might be over only if Ripple and the SEC come to a private settlement deal, which is different from the ruling. The terms of the settlement deal should never be brought back to the trial court to be approved after the appeal is thrown out. It is possible, but if the stay is what's stopping them, the SEC would have to agree not to follow the court's order. That doesn't seem likely that the SEC would agree to that, but they might agree to something less direct, like giving Ripple a way to actually record sales of XRP to institutional buyers. This way, Ripple could get what it needs, and the SEC wouldn't be breaking the law, which would mean it can't be done. Following this is the only way I can see the case ending in the next few days or weeks, which seems to match what she's saying. If you don't already know this, the SEC has been dropping all crypto cases that don't involve theft. Thanks for your comment. Ripple is trying to work with the SEC to get them to change their minds because a judge told them they can't sell XRP to big clients. They want that lifted because they don't want to accept they did anything wrong. Okay, then there's the new thing, of course. The Dubai Financial Services Authority has given Ripple legal approval. I'll show you the way. Let's go. Ripple is the leader in blockchain, crypto, and business solutions, the boss. Have you heard that has been given permission by the Dubai Financial Services Authority to offer controlled payments and services in the Dubai International Financial Center? This was looked at a long time ago. The Dubai Financial Services area is home to some of the biggest banks and insurance companies in the world. It's a big deal. The World Bank says that the UAE has a $40 billion cross-border payments business. It will become a world center for trade and money leaving the country. In the Middle East, Ripple is being used by more and more crypto-nevic companies, as well as traditional banks and financial institutions. They are all looking for ways to fix the problems with traditional cross-border payments, like the high fees, long settlement times, and lack of openness. Ripple did a business study in 2024 and found that 64% of finance leaders in the Middle East and Africa think that faster payments and settlement times are the best thing about using blockchain-based currencies for cross-border payments. A lot of useful details are given here. I've also got a movie ready for you. Here it is. At the same time, near the end of November, the DFS actually accepted XRP as a digital asset that businesses in the DFC regime could use. That's a big step forward for us in terms of first giving people in the region more information about XRP. I would also say that VARA, which is a separate regulator in the area, is doing great things. Since 2020, Ripple has been in the DIFDF. We're glad to be here. In terms of licenses, we'd like to work with officials to figure out what licenses we need and get them. The answer is yes, we are going ahead with this. There is more to come on this subject, though, because it has to do with the Middle East. Okay, there will be more. Congress talks a lot about how important it is to have stablecoins that are heavily controlled. They specifically brought up the NYDFS. Let's play this. A lot of people are worried about crypto companies losing their banks because federal officials have sent mixed messages about how traditional finance can work with the crypto industry and provide important services. Bank of New York is a bank licensed by the state of New York that has been working with crypto companies. The New York Department of Financial Services has made it easier for banks to do this by giving them clear instructions. This has created a thriving crypto ecosystem in New York for both crypto companies and regular banks. New York's leadership in this case shows how important it is for stablecoin regulation to have a strong state route. Talk about how important it is to work with New York's DFS to make the city's crypto economy strong and well regulated. Thanks for your question, Congressman. The New York DFS and all of our other agencies are very close with us, and because this place is always changing, it's very important to have that very engaged dialogue all the time to make sure we know the clarity in which we can work. We can also make sure that there is clear and consistent information going both ways as these rules and the ecosystem change. Framework needs to be maintained all the time across the whole ecosystem, and it shouldn't matter if you pick a federal or a state route. There needs to be consistency between our laws and rules at the government level so that we shouldn't make mistaken. Do you agree that we need rules at the government level? That's because each state will have its own rules if we let them decide. Is it true that we'll be building more silos? Crypto is hard to sell because it breaks down the old system into many separate silos, which makes it harder for value to move around, right? Ripple's goal is for everything to be able to work with each other. Make sure that the whole ecosystem is safe and that everyone is up to the high level. During your statement, you talked about Paxio's past with the New York State DFS. What do you think are the pros of having steady coin issuers regulated by the government? Thanks for the question, Congressman. The New York DFS was the first government agency in the world to give the go-ahead for a controlled stablecoin to be released. And I think that shows how important it is to have a state route that lets innovation happen and keep happening. I think that a lot of regulators around the world have used the rules and structure that the DFS has built as a starting point for their own frameworks. That really shows why it's important for the states to be able to lead. Today, there wouldn't be a possible regulated stablecoin released from the United States if New York wasn't in charge. Like a lot of my coworkers, I'm worried about how bad people might use stablecoins and other digital assets. I'm glad that you and I have had the chance to talk about how important it is for any stablecoin bill that becomes law to have strong protections against illegal funding. Thoughts on where you think the biggest risks are, and what do you think we should do about this? That is a good question. I believe it's very important to protect banks by following rules like AML, KYC, and BSA. Today, Paxos does this. We don't want anyone to use these goods without permission. I believe that this new technology also makes new tools. That means we need new models. People need to find new ways to see how their assets are being used. The one hand will make it easier for people to get to this, which is important. On the other hand, it might give people new ways to use it without permission. And I believe you can find a way to balance the risks and benefits in a way that works for everyone if you use the right safeguards and follow the same customer service rules as a bank. Okay, let's keep going. You also have our Artchecks is happy to say that we are live on real world assets. rwa.xyz with our tokenized real world assets on the XRP ledger, which add up to almost 45 million TVL at this point. This makes us one of the top RWA tokenizers and shows how committed we are to tokenization and new digital assets. Keep an eye out for more news. It's true that this tool is really cool. I think there is a paid part to the website, but you can take a look at this one. You can find a lot of useful information here, like the UI and all of this information on the left side about stablecoins, US stocks, global bonds, and private credit. These are some of the coolest tools I've ever seen. I'll be using them in some of my future movies. Okay, victory for XRP and how Ripple's garlinghouse beat the SEC.